If you could peel away every muscle, every organ, every nerve, you would not find empty space, you would not find separation. You would find a continuous web, a dense, delicate, three-dimensional network that wraps around everything inside you. Muscles do not float independently. Organs are not isolated structures. Even your nerves are not truly alone. Everything is connected by a single, uninterrupted fabric. And for most of modern medical history, this tissue was ignored, dissected, discarded, cut away to reveal what was thought to be the real body underneath. But what if that was a mistake? What if this hidden web is not just packaging? What if it is one of the most important structural systems in your entire body? Because without it, your body would not move as a coordinated whole. It would fall apart into separate mechanical pieces. This is the fascia, and it may be one of the most fundamental structures responsible for keeping you alive as an integrated organism. Right now, beneath your skin, a continuous network of connective tissue is wrapping around every muscle fiber, every blood vessel, every nerve, and every internal organ. It is not a single sheet. It is not a simple layer. It is a living, dynamic matrix that extends in all directions. Up, down, across, and deep into the body's internal architecture. At its simplest level, a fascia is made of connective tissue rich in collagen and elastin. But describing it as simple is misleading, because its organization is anything but simple. It forms multiple layers: superficial fascia beneath the skin, deep fascia surrounding muscles, visceral fascia enveloping organs, and even delicate sheaths that guide nerves and blood vessels as they travel through the body. Each layer is continuous with the others, meaning there are no true breaks, only transitions. A single, uninterrupted structural network. This changes everything about how we understand movement, because when a muscle contracts, it does not act in isolation. The force is transmitted not only through tendons and bones, but through fascial planes that distribute tension across multiple regions of the body. A movement in your foot can influence your knee, your hip, your spine, even your neck. Not because of mystical connections, but because force travels through this continuous connective network. This is why the body behaves as an integrated system rather than a collection of independent parts. The fascia literally links them mechanically, but structure is only part of the story. Because fascia is also alive with sensory information. It contains an enormous number of mechanoreceptors, cells that detect tension, pressure, stretch, and vibration. In fact, some researchers suggest that fascia may contain more sensory nerve endings than muscle tissue itself. This means that a large portion of your sense of body position, your proprioception, does not come solely from muscles and joints. It comes from this connective web. Every step you take, every adjustment in posture, every subtle shift in balance, is informed by signals traveling through fascial tissue. It is a silent communication system that tells your brain where your body is in space. Without conscious thought, without effort, continuously. But fascia does more than transmit information. It also stores mechanical history. Every repetitive movement, every posture you hold for hours, every injury, every adaptation leaves subtle imprints in this tissue. Over time, certain regions can become more rigid or more restricted, altering how force is distributed, changing how you move, and in many cases contributing to what people perceive as chronic stiffness or unexplained tension in areas like the neck, lower back, or shoulders. This is why fascia is increasingly studied in rehabilitation and sports science, not as passive wrapping, but as an active contributor to biomechanics and even chronic pain patterns. And yet, for a long time, it was overlooked. Because when you look at a preserved anatomical specimen, fascia appears unremarkable, translucent, fragile, easy to remove. So, traditional anatomy focused on what remained after it was stripped away: muscles, bones, organs, the visible parts of the body. But in doing so, it may have missed the system that organizes them. Because fascia is not just surrounding the body, it is structuring it. It provides internal tension that stabilizes organs in place. It creates pathways that guide movement. It distributes mechanical stress so that no single point bears all the load. Even your organs are suspended within fascial networks that hold them in position while still allowing flexibility and motion. The heart, lungs, intestines, liver, and kidneys are not floating freely. They are embedded in fascial compartments that allow them to move, expand, and contract while maintaining structural organization. And this organization is continuous from head to toe. A tension in one area can propagate through the network to distant regions, which means the body behaves less like a machine assembled from parts and more like a unified mechanical continuum. But fascia is not only mechanical, it is also deeply involved in fluid dynamics. Within its layers flows interstitial fluid, nutrients, metabolic waste, signaling molecules. This creates a semi-permeable environment where mechanical and biochemical processes interact continuously. Movement helps circulate fluids, and fluid balance affects tissue elasticity. Everything is interdependent, a living biomechanical matrix. Recent research has even suggested that fascia may play a role in intercellular communication, acting as a medium through which mechanical signals influence cellular behavior. Cells respond not only to chemistry, but to tension, to stretch, to pressure, and even to long-term mechanical load, meaning that posture and habitual movement patterns may subtly influence gene expression over time. This transforms how we think about the body, because instead of isolated systems, we begin to see a continuous field of interaction. Musculoskeletal, nervous, circulatory, all embedded within the same connective architecture. And even more intriguingly, fascia appears to behave differently depending on hydration, temperature, and chronic stress levels, suggesting that it is not static at all, but dynamically responsive to internal and external conditions. So the question becomes unavoidable. Is the body truly a collection of organs working together? Or is it, in fact, one integrated structural system, held together and coordinated by fascia? There is still much we do not fully understand. Fascia is difficult to study, hard to isolate, hard to preserve without altering it. But what is becoming increasingly clear is that it cannot be ignored, because every movement you make depends on it. Every posture you hold is shaped by it. Every force that travels through your body passes through it. And even the way you experience comfort, stiffness, or ease of movement may depend on its state of tension. And perhaps the most important realization is this: you are not a set of separate parts connected by joints and tubes. You are a continuous structural organism, held together by a living web that surrounds you, penetrates you, and quietly ensures that everything moves as one. Even the smallest shift in one region echoes through the whole system, revealing a level of integration that traditional anatomy is only beginning to fully appreciate. And as research continues, one idea becomes increasingly difficult to ignore: that what we once called connective tissue may not just be supporting the body, but defining it. And that definition may change how we understand movement, health, and even pain itself.